Hey again, everybody. Thank you so much for your feedback on my first video that I posted a few weeks ago. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm glad that you enjoyed getting to see the stuff that I carry with me every day. I got a few requests for some other videos to do, so I'm going to be working on those over the next couple of months. The first one that I want to show you is my sermon preparation process. Now, I am an associate pastor at the church where I serve, so I preach maybe every 4 to 6 weeks. So this is kind of what I do when I've got, a sermon coming for the upcoming Sunday, maybe do a little preparation the week before, but this is mostly about a 1-week process for me. So if I was like a lot of you and preaching every week, I probably would have some different systems in place, say to be studying systematically ahead of time, looking a few weeks out. But this is what I do on a given week when I'm up to preach, like this upcoming week. All right, so we will start with my sermon planning process, where everything that I do starts, and that's in my to-do list. Now, I use Todoist as my to-do app of choice, although, of course, this process can work in whatever app or service or notebook or sticky notes or pad of paper or whatever your to-do system might be. But I really like Todoist. I'd be happy to show my Todoist setup in another video, so let me know if you want to see that. So I will... since I preach occasionally, I'll preach every 4 to 6 weeks as an associate. I will start by creating a project for each message that I'm doing. So let's just say I'm actually preaching this week, but let's say that I'm also going to preach next week, so we get the dates right and everything. We'll start with a new project, and I like to use purple for preaching just so it stands out. So we'll start with that project. You'll see it shows up down here, and then in Todoist, when I make a new project for each message that I'm doing, it lets me import my whole process from a template. So you'll see right here, it opens up this folder I've got in my documents, and here is all my message prep stuff, and it imports, and you'll see here in just a second, it gives all the tags and the priority flags that I want. And so, of course, goes without saying that, prayer and discernment and study are all part of the sermon prep process. But in this video, I just kind of wanted to show the basic steps that I go through in a week when I'm preparing to preach. I'll do, if I'm really ambitious, I'll do my study and kind of picking out my key passages like Thursday the week before, but usually I'll do that on Mondays. And then also, we have our bulletin, we call it Bear Notes, and those are notes to go along with some blanks to fill in and the scriptures for people to follow along with the message. I like to get a draft of those done on Monday as well. Tuesday, and really this is a process for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but I like to start drafting my speaking notes on Tuesday. Once I've got a pretty good handle on what passages I'm going to use, what the notes are going to look like, then I can kind of start making some notes in there. Wednesday is when I need to have my notes done and sent to our awesome administrator. So she prints the bulletin on Thursdays, so that means by the end of the day on Wednesday, I need to have this all done, have my notes ready and sent to her. We also do a video before the message, kind of a transition from the worship set into the message, and so I'll go on sources like Sermon Spice or Worship House Media. Sometimes I'll find something on YouTube, but when I'm preaching, I need to find that video for before the message as well. I like to do that on Wednesday just because it goes with my daily theme there. And then I don't often hit this target, but by Thursday, since I do my best to take Friday off and really try to take Saturday off, usually pretty good with Saturday, I want to have a draft of my notes done and be able, especially since I preach from a manuscript, want to be able to rehearse and revise and really start getting that message honed in. Now, of course, I'll be, do some work on it usually on a Friday, and I'll review it Sunday morning before I come up to the church So like I said, I don't often hit this target, but that's my ideal, would be to have a draft done and be able to do some rehearsal and revision by Thursday, the week before I preach. So those are the steps to my process. The rest of this video, we're going to take a look and see what each one of these steps looks like, and then we'll take a look at the final product. So we're over here now, and these are the notes. These are pretty well finalized for the message I'm going to be giving this Sunday, January 23rd. Now, usually I'm given a topic, or a title. So in this case, we're talking about values for the mission. And so for this Sunday, I'm talking about the 5 core values of our church. So in this case, the points that I'm going to talk through are already done for me. They're the 5 core values of our church. You can see them right here, the numbered ones. And those are the 5 points that I'm going to talk through. So in this case, I've taken those 5 points. I do want to say something about the importance of having values and knowing what your values are at the start of the message. So I put that up top, and then I'm just going to talk through our 5 core values. And then I've gone and found scriptures to go along with each of these values that express why they're important for us as a church. And then you can see I've started to put in just a couple of notes on the things I want to cover under each one of these points. So under, say, community is our middle name, Bear Valley Community Church. It's sort of a play on that. One thing is that we have life groups starting next week. And so I want to encourage everybody to sign up for one, to be part of one, or to start their own. And that really, of course, is about building community within our church and among our people, and also as an outreach to people's friends and family, encouraging them, start a group, invite a few friends to be part of one with you. But of course, community also encompasses our love and care for our neighbors. So the hostage situation at the synagogue that was in the news this past weekend, that happened in our city. I know some of the people who were involved with that, and so that's something I need to talk about as well, to talk about how we can care for and love our neighbors as they're healing, and kind of preparing our church to be part of the healing and the work that needs to go on in our community to love our neighbors more and to support them in their time of grief and healing. And so that's what the draft of my notes will look like. And when that's ready, I'll go up here and I will actually create a new file that is going to be what I send to our administrator and our worship leader so they can make the bulletin and the slides for Sunday. And so I use rich text format, RTF, and on a Mac that will open in a different app. It'll open in Text Edit, so I'll go ahead and pull that up here. This lets me make the font the same size, take out those high-level speaking notes that I had in here, space things out, make the blanks exactly how I want them, kind of tell which pages in the bulletin everything should go on. And so preparing all of that to be sent in a separate file means that I can do as much work as I need to over here to start building out my message, and then not have to backtrack or go through and delete things and send the file and then undo or something like that. One other thing that I wanted to mention, so in this case, I started with the 5 values of our church, and that pretty well built my message or built the outline for me. If I'm given, say, a passage of scripture or a topic, and I want to start to think through it and get a handle on it without necessarily, say, writing a manuscript, sometimes I'll do what's called a mind map. And so this is kind of a fluid outline with branches that you can see here, and you can move these around and connect them different ways, and just connect your thoughts together. I have a whiteboard in my office. You can do that just as easily on a whiteboard or a piece of paper. But of course, the nice thing about having it electronically is that you can move stuff around really easily and add in as much as you want. So I've got this pulled up in the app that I use for mind mapping called MindNode. You can see the name right there. And this is from a message I did last year about the parable of the workers who were all paid equally, but who didn't work equal amounts of time. And so in this case, one of those big ideas, this was the line from the landowner that stood out to me. Are you envious because I am generous? And so in one section of my message, I really focused on that. You can see the branches of thought coming out from there. And then this is actually one of a set of 3 sections here in Matthew 19 where Jesus illustrates this principle that he talks about so many places, that the first will be last and the last will be first. So that was the other big idea that I was working through in this message. So just another option for organizing your thoughts. And so of course, also doing it on my computer, I can copy or link to anything out of here, can copy stuff out, put it over here in my notes as I'm preparing them. So there's another option. And so at this point in the week, my notes are drafted, they're ready to be sent, and then the rest of the week is spent building out this manuscript and getting ready for Sunday. All right, the last part I want to take you through is how I review and then actually preach my message. So I start off with the iPad mini. So this is after I've gotten my manuscript written and everything's ready. I'll usually, Sunday morning or sometime over the weekend, do some review of it on my iPad mini. Just pull up pages here, and this is a really nice size to hold. Just sit back, relax, read through my message, and I can make any little changes that I want to in there. And then when I actually get to the church, we have one of these big 12.9-inch iPad Pros. This one's a few years old, but hey, it still works for what we use it for. And so I mentioned that I have switched to using Pages for a couple of reasons. And the main one is that maybe a year and a half ago, they added an update to Pages that added what they call presenter mode. And this basically takes, so I'm in it now, I'll actually close out of it. So it takes your manuscript, your document, like you would make in any word processor, Pages, Microsoft Word, Google Docs, and when you turn on presenter mode, it inverts the background and the text. If you want to do that, that's something I prefer, to have white text on a black background. And then it, you can adjust the text size without changing it in your document. And then when you tap here, you'll see it start to scroll up the page. So hopefully this is all coming across on the camera as well, but it'll scroll. You can adjust the speed just like a teleprompter, and I found that this is really nice, so I'm not having to constantly go and scroll my manuscript. Of course, if I need to stop, I can tap again, start it again with a tap, and I can scroll or go back up a little bit if I need to. But it's really nice to, since I put this on the lectern and kind of have my hands freed up to gesture or to grab the lectern or whatever the case may be, and just have my manuscript moving along with me as I speak, not have to worry about keeping track of it or shuffling pages around or anything like that. But that does bring me to the other, I haven't had to do it yet, but the other reason that I do like Pages, so having a word processor instead of, say, a markdown writing app, which I was using before, is it makes it really easy. If all the technology goes haywire, I can just, blow up the font in my document, print it out, and I'm ready to go. So another added benefit of having your manuscript primarily electronically, but then in a word processor, just in case you need it if things go sideways. So that's it as far as my sermon preparation process. Definitely let me know any feedback that you have or any questions that you have down in the comments. The next video that I'm going to be doing is going to be a desk setup, office tour sort of video. I'm not sure if that's going to be one big video or if I'll split it up into one for the desk and one for the rest of my office. But if you want to know if there's any rhyme or reason to all this stuff behind me, be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks.